Hi, welcome back to the channel. And today I've got one of my inspirations of the carnivore. So is Alex Carnivore for Life? Welcome to the channel.
Thank you, Carl. It's a pleasure to be on, mate. Much appreciated.
Well, other than verifying your age, because anyone that doesn't know you, I would suggest or will think that you are younger than me. Now, I'm 58 and I get nice compliments from that. But when I found out that you were older than me, let's say, I didn't believe it. So I've asked you to produce evidence to prove that
Yes,
your age. So let's see that you really are. Is it 65 now or
I'm
66?
66. I was
66,
66 in
year I
August.
was born. Well, there you go. There's evidence, ladies and gentlemen. He generally is that age. So, Alex, yeah, that's another. I'll have to block out some of those details so we don't lose your identity. But so, Alex, give us the why.
Okay, well, as you know from my videos, I always talk about when I saw Lisa Wiedemann say, you have to have a why. The why will make you cry. Now, that was a couple of months after I'd started my channel. But when I do think about that question, I didn't have a concrete capital letter Y at the beginning. I saw a documentary called Fat Fiction, and it had been put on my YouTube because I'm the cook or the chef in the house, or I was. And with my mainly plant-based diet, I was watching videos all the time, particularly from a guy called Young Man Cooking. He was from Hong Kong, lived in Canada, and he made the most amazing vegetarian dishes. So although I didn't want a label of being a vegetarian, I'd always ate a great so-called Mediterranean diet, which could mean anything, but it was always whole foods, but it never worked for me. And I watched this documentary twice in one day on my own. And because I'm retired from my normal job, I spent hours watching this thing, and it was all about carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Now, I'd always steer clear of fats and proteins and stuck to lean proteins and mainly carbohydrates. And you're only sitting there and you're watching other people your age thinking they've gone on a low fat one week and a high fat the next week. And I'm thinking, I've been doing this wrong all my life. So that got me intrigued and fascinated. And I'd always been against sugar, but there's no sugar in our diet as such. But I'd never realized the impact and the dangers of consuming so much sugar, which we've got in all our foods. So my detective head went on, told Michelle, my wife, that I said, shall I just watch this video? And she goes, oh, not another one, because I was a YouTube fan. I said, babe, we've got to get all the sugar out of our house. And at the time, I was going up to about 15 stone, which is about, I was over 203 pounds, as I say to everybody. And I was struggling, but I'd got so used to it. It was just baggage that I carried around with me all the time. And so I didn't say, right, I've got a why. Here's my why. We're going to go on for it. The first day I said, Shell, right, we're going to get all this, anything with sugar in our house, we're going to get rid of, whether it's dry store, whether it's boxed foods in the fridge. And we literally cleared out the pantry and the fridge and the freezer, anything. I was getting all the boxes going. Look, Shell, sugar, dextrose, maltodextrin, what's going on? And it was always, I've said this a couple of times, it was a eureka moment for me. I went, oh, well, if they can do this on this video, I'm going to have a go. What the hell? And I've always had the belief that if you do something for 30 days, you create a new habit. So as I say, it wasn't a why on day one, but after the first week, I think I'd lost 7 to 9 pounds in weight. Trying to lose the weight that I've been doing for years at the gym. I get free gym because I work in a sports center, and I got used to get fed up with it because I used to hit it hard, on the low fat diet, getting bigger and bigger. I do like a beer. I like my wine, but never smoked or done drugs. And when you say to yourself, you know what, stuff that for a game of soldiers. I am what I am. And if you can't live with that, that's the way it is. But the weight loss was considerable, but combined with energy levels. And I stopped snoring after a day or two. Now I snored like a gorilla. And, we would never get divorced, but I used to get the elbows all the time. So this became, after about a week's reflection, I sat there with Shell and she went, are you getting fed up with this yet? And I went, but babe, I've just lost 7 to 9 pounds. You've told me, and you're my biggest critic, which I want, I feel better. And I'm really enjoying eating like a king every day. I'm eating steaks. I'd had ground beef and eggs and bacon, and everything was becoming simple. So after a week, we carried on eating the way we were. I carried on doing what I found out to be the carnivore diet. And that became my why. I was starting to get results that I hadn't had for years and years and years. When I got to the age of 60, before lockdowns, that's when I was getting to a point where it started to be a bit down as well. So I couldn't really describe to Shell how I felt, but I thought, hold on a second, I've lost this weight in a week, which I've been trying to do for years. Why not try and carry on? You know what I mean? It just felt to me that I've got to give this at least one more month. And it just got better and better and better. And so on reflection, my why was I was overweight. I was obese. I didn't realize at the time. I was depressed. I had many, many health issues, which I've been carrying since my late 50s. And so this was all of a sudden I had this vehicle to do, which was not costing me any more money. It was just benefits after benefits after benefits so fast. After a month, and I saw people like Lisa Wiedemann talking about, Sean Baker in particular, he said, you've got to have a why. That then became my sort of like my flag, I've now found it. So let's see what else this thing can do. So in a long drawn out way, Carl, that's my answer to the question, that the why was a gradual thing after sort of doing the research and finding, benefits after benefits after benefits.
Well, that's part of the principle behind this channel, is to educate people or give people the opportunity to understand so they can make their own informed decisions. So that's the journey that you took. So that's spot on. So how long have you been doing it now? Because you're quite some way ahead of me.
Yeah, 934 days.
Wow.
So that's 2 years, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. We're going into 2 years and 7 months.
That's phenomenal. And you've stuck with it all the way through, or have you had any slips? Have you had any?
Yeah.
There's no carnivore police. They're not going to arrest you. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, I have actually put on videos because I do like having as it says, a carnivore for life. I do like the fact that I've got a YouTube channel. If you'd have asked me 3 years ago you'd be on YouTube, I'd have said, you've lost your marbles, you're loco, because I'm not, as you well know, I'm not a techie person. I leave that to other people. Like my brother-in-law, he's a tech. He does like banks, stuff like that, does all maintenance. So what was the question? I forgot the question. I have slipped up, particularly on social occasions. And because I'm a social person anyway, I've documented on my videos when we went to Whitby, we've been to, Harrogate. We've been on like a lot of mini family trips because we had a lot of bereavements in the family. So Michelle's sister and her husband and her family, we always get together. And I remember the first one we went to about a year after the start of Carnivore. And Barry, my brother, he won't mind me saying, was like, right, so we found a carnivore restaurant. And I was like, Barry, I love it, mate. But I said, there's 8 of us going out in the party. I don't want any of that. I just want to try this. And every time I go to, say, like a meat-based restaurant, that's fine. But if they bring out the onion rings or the chips or the vegetables, I probably won't eat them, but I don't want everyone sitting there going, what's Alex going to eat? It was that way where I didn't want to isolate myself or go down the road of saying what I'm doing is better than yours. I'd embraced it so well, but my family supported me from the beginning. Once they realized that I was going to be flexible, that was fine. But the big mistake for me was went to Berlin last October, and we went to a big department store, massive big burgers, fantastic. But I'll go for the French fries, and they were superb, cooked in seed oils. I think it was 2 hours later, I was in bed for 24 hours with diarrhea. It was horrendous. Michelle went, wow, that tells me that you just can't go back to the way you were, So it's been like that with seed oil since. So
yep, I mean, but that just shows you where your microbiome has changed, and therefore something you used to have is now alien to your body, and your
definitely.
body. Yeah. So and that's what I say to a lot of people. It's about listening to your body. And once you've gone in a certain direction, and as I say before, I don't care if people go vegan, vegetarian, keto, whatever, get away from the hyper processed foods. But then once you're there, you need to listen to your body and deal with it. So
yes.
spot on. So, Alex, I've noticed the T-shirt. Do you want to give us a little bit of a backstory about it? Because that's a great project. So, I'll
Yeah,
let you explain to people that don't know about it.
yeah. When I got my first interview last July 2023 with a guy called Kerry Mann from Homestead Howe, little did I know that it would create another journey alongside my carnivore way of eating. Kerry said to me on the interview, it went really well. We're in that other room at the back, little mobile phone, Michelle's makeup behind me. Everyone's been commenting on that. And we just got on so well. Like me and you have a chemistry and we could talk for hours. And this thing has gone crazy. I think it's over 275,000 views so far. And I just got the bug. And he said to me at the time, off camera, Alex, he said, you come across really well. I really enjoyed speaking to you. Why don't you start your own channel? And I'd messed around and called it Carnivore for Life, but I'd never put anything on. So got the bug, started building up a channel. I think I'm nearly 4,000 subscribers now, which just blows my mind. Just an ordinary working class lad from Liverpool telling people that he's changed his life forever. I know that's obviously the attraction, but alongside that journey, I've kept in touch with Kerry. I've been on a couple of live streams, and he just got it in his head that he was going to tell the world, like me, that this is the best thing since, pardon the pun, sliced bread. So he's gone along with a thing called the Carnivore Diet Movie. I've been supporting it. I think you have as well. Yeah. I've done a couple of live streams on his channel, Homestead Howe, and we've now got to the stage where he is building up. He's decided to call it Healing Humanity, which is a great, perfect title. There's a website called healinghumanity.life. And obviously, because it's self-funded, or, it's funded by, a private investment, it's not being supported by any corporations or Beyond Meat, or I can't think of a meat-related company, but it's all privately funded. He's looking to get the actual, the movie out next year, hopefully in 2025. He's in Adelaide today. He's interviewed many medical professionals, many people like yourself and people like Dante Ferrigno. Put that in the reference. We've got many US carnivores from all walks of life. We've had similar stories to you and me. We had issues. We found something that works for us, and we're trying to shout it out to everybody. So the Healing Humanity movie, obviously I've got this T-shirt. All the proceeds go to the movie. Yes, they will go to the movie. I think I've got 3 of these at the moment. But any chance I get, because I'm so supportive of the documentary, I wear these as much as I can. There is developments going on with the UK carnivores. I can't talk too much about it today because
understand.
I don't know that much, but he has shouted out to me that he's coming over to the UK in December. He's asked me to come along and have a chat. Hopefully, there's going to be a meetup where we actually sit down and eat steaks. It'll be a wonderful opportunity. He said to me, give it a shout out, but he said, we're still finalising the details. So who knows? The way the developments are, I would love him to ask someone like you, Carl. I've suggested to you on emails and stuff like that. The likes of Sarah, who we know personally, Paul from was it UK Carnivore guy. So I think that what will happen is, I think Kerry knows our video backgrounds, and I'm sure he'll do. If he gets a chance, he'll give us a chance to get together. So Healing Humanity, guys, it's going to be a game changer. That's what I think.
And I think and I've seen little snippets that he's put on his channel with regards to the video, because he can't share any of it, otherwise it won't be picked up by one of the producers. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And Kerry's been another inspiration for a lot of us, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure he's over the moon now with the change of government and the appointment of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., because he's speaking our language. And it was interesting that when he got appointed, the share value of a lot of big pharma and a lot of big food companies dropped. So they're obviously, people are waking up to this. So his timing for the film next year could be absolutely brilliant. And I think that will create a tsunami of interest.
Yeah, I heard a little story about Dr. Anthony Chaffee. He might have been considered for one of his panels. I don't know whether he's been voted in, but there is a connection already, apparently, with this Make America Healthy Again. So
that
yeah,
would be, because it was interesting, because I saw the short that you've got, and I'll put some links to Kerry's channel and to Humanity, and obviously I want to put a link into the short that you've got where I think it was Kerry was asking Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Chafee, and the others about your age, and that's why I asked for your
yeah,
evidence earlier. And I think that is brilliant, and their faces just tell you the story. Just their
yeah.
reaction is just perfect. So I will put a link to that for anyone that
Oh,
hasn't already seen it.
I'm just touching on appearance. What I would say is, before I started Carnivore, I'm as vain as everybody else. I never got compliments ever, Carl. Nobody ever turned around to me and said, Alex, you're looking great. Maybe when I was in my 20s and 30s, but not for the last 30 odd years. As soon as I went onto Carnivore, I got compliments after compliments about the way I looked in terms of my appearance, in some sense, like my fitness. But people could tell that I was just so energetic. But they said to me, you look 10, 15, 20 years younger. And it's only when I got back into like looking through my Google photos, I went, geez, was I that big? My head was like a bowling ball. And I did notice as well that when a couple of months after I put my normal baseball caps on, they were just fitted golf caps and they were coming down my head. So I was actually starting to become like a shrinking man. But appearance wise, I think I am lucky. I've never had very lined skin. I've never smoked in my life, never done drugs. I never use commercial products on my face. Maybe that's helped. And my granddads, before they went upstairs, they both had full heads of hair. So maybe I picked up those genes. I think if I was, no hair, I don't know, very, very lined, people would go, yeah, you look 66. But maybe I'm just blessed in that department.
That's interesting, because I've noticed with myself, my grey beard is becoming less grey.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that's really
It's
bizarre. I
crazy.
used to be proper grey here. Now it's
Yeah,
literally just this little patch here. And even
yeah,
then, darker hairs are coming through. So
yeah. Well,
there's a
yesterday's
lot in
video,
it.
yeah, I was doing an outside broadcast going into the gym yesterday, and you could see my salt and pepper. I do touch my beard up. I'm as vain as everybody else, but I've never, I mean, my hair looks in this light, it looks quite dark, doesn't it? But if you look at
Yeah.
yesterday's video, which I'm going to put out on Friday, you can see the grey coming through. And there's nobody I know who's 66 who hasn't got any grey. You know what I mean? But I agree with you. Michelle said to me, look, your hair looks darker, but it is in a much better condition by far. It used to be very greasy. My nails are the same, my skin. I'm not saying I'm reversing aging, but I do feel, Carl, I can say this hand on heart, I feel 30 years younger. It's just, yeah, people who watch this and go, yeah, but it genuinely is that way. That my main sort of like shout out is that I do feel decades younger.
Oh, I can totally relate to that. I mean,
Yeah.
in my youth, I did judo, football, rugby. I was very sporty. Then, obviously, over a period of time, I always joke that I went from judo to sumo. I did a London marathon in the suit of armor,
Yeah,
which nearly killed me at the time, which was fun.
yeah.
I'm aiming to do something else for a charity in that armor again, because I now feel I've got the energy levels to do it. The wife's not so keen on it, but she wants to up the insurance first. But
Yeah. But is it hard for you to explain or to describe or get it across how you feel?
this morning I was up at 4:30. You
Wow.
know, when up before the diet, I would at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'd go to work. I was sluggishly getting up at 4:30 this morning,
Yeah. Yeah.
and felt ready to go. And I didn't probably go to bed till 11:30.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm sleeping a lot less and gaining more energy
Yeah. It's
and
hard to
sleeping better.
really.
Like you, stop snoring as well.
Yeah. And at the beginning, that's how I felt. I mean, obviously, once I got my why in place, at the beginning, I'm scratching my head going, I'm up at 6 o'clock. And I turn over because obviously being semi-retired. And then Michelle said, why are you awake? And I was going, Michelle, I feel great. I don't want to turn over and get another 4 hours, crazy.
So, another question for you then, because obviously you've been successful, and as I say, you've been an inspiration for someone like me to stick with it. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping to look younger than my passport photo as well eventually one day. But so, if you could start again based on what you've learned on your journey, for anyone that's thinking about doing this kind of thing, and this is personal opinion, it's not advice, obviously, but what would you do different, or would you do anything different if you were starting again now with what you know?
Yeah. With regards to the diet, I've thought about this a few times. I was fortunate. I didn't have any reactions to wiping out carbs completely. I know some people do. I, on the diet side, I wouldn't change a thing. So, and that's what I've tried to do is with my videos, put my advice in. Oh, sorry, not advice, but my anecdotes, my suggestions, my tips. But I just felt that I was talking about it too much. I became obsessed. And everyone who said to me, Alex, you're looking great, I'd go, yeah, you know why? Because I'm on a carnivore diet. Then you need to go on YouTube, you need to see Sean Baker. And people, as soon as I did that, I said it in one of the videos, the veil used to go up. And, it was like I tried like pyramid, what's it called?
Yeah.
Remember the old pyramids?
Yeah, yeah.
Remember people about 20 years ago trying to involve me in pyramid schemes, and I'd go, oh, get away, you're a nice person, but shut up. And I just couldn't stop talking about it. And when Kerry said to me, do a channel, Alex, it'll make you accountable, that was the best thing I did. But even today, I've started yoga, and everyone in yoga goes, Alex, were you, Michelle said you were quite overweight. And I go, yeah. And I'm waiting, I can't help myself. I want to tell them, not that they need to try it, but if it works for me, it'll work for anybody, but it won't. It just won't, because people have got so many barriers and hurdles, understandably, in the way. You've got family, friends, social issues, your job, all those different environments. So I think if there was going to be a change, I probably would have just smiled and just said, yes, I'm on the carnivore diet. Next question, what's it about? And instead of me going, blah, 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 that was the one thing. But carnivore diet itself, I would say, which I did, research, give it 30 to 90 days, because whichever diet you do, whether it's vegan, pescatarian, whatever it is, you're not going to get amazing result. The end result in 3 or 4 days. You've got to give it time. And to adapt from no carbs to just fats and proteins is probably a trial for a lot of people, but the benefits are so worth it. Not guaranteed, but
So as I'm following your channel, obviously this particular month you revisiting the lion diet. So how's your progress on that? Although you've done a new version of it, it's steak and eggs basically, isn't it?
Yeah, it is steak and eggs. I mean, they're all labels, aren't they? I'm not a fan of labels. I think I said in one of my videos, I didn't realize, and I probably said to you today, I didn't realize I was doing the carnivore diet. I'd eliminated carbs. So you could have called it an elimination diet or whatever. It was only when Dr. Sean Baker came onto my algorithms in that first week, I went, oh, I'm doing the carnivore diet. You know what I mean? So November last year, I was intrigued by it all. I think Kerry Mann had started it. There was Dave Mack, Dante Ferrigno, who I'm a big sort of admirer of. He's been doing line diet for 5 years. So me being me, new challenge, let's do it. Last year was crazy. I loved it. I dropped 5 pounds over the month. And if you look at me at the end of the month, I'm starting to go a bit scrawny here, a bit like those people on Ozempic. But I endorsed it. I had a great time. I did a playlist, but went back into coffee, a couple of Diet Cokes. I didn't up the alcohol at all. I was quite pleased about that. That was probably the best result of the whole thing. And maybe 2 meals a day. I started eating later again. But I look back and think, if I'd have carried on doing line diet another month, I probably would have broke the 11 stone or 154 pound barrier. So me being me, it was the anniversary, but I love eggs, Carl. They are probably, on par with the ribeyes. And so I remember when I was a young man, you had the likes of these politicians saying, all our egg production is all infected with salmonella. And I went along with all the, the things you try to be a good citizen, avoided eggs at all costs, even though I love them. So I've gone crazy. I just get 30 to 60 eggs probably a week from Stanton's, my local butcher. And I'm going to have 4 eggs and a ribeye once we've finished. It's the best thing I've ever done. So I thought, let's modify this. Let's call it my steak and eggs lion diet. A couple of people said, you're not a lion. And here we go. And so I just basically say to people, let's have fun with this. I've done a couple of AI YouTube thumbnails of a lion eating, eggs? And so that's the way. It's going to be a steak and eggs diet. That's what it is. And so I haven't had I've had 1 day of ground beef with burgers. no coffee, no Diet Cokes, which is one of my little addictions. So I'm really delighted about that. And I was saying before, I do feel as if I could say I'm about 10% better feeling than I was last year. I've still got 4 pounds to lose to get down to 154. But after 20 days, I'm delighted I've done it. It's, you know, if people are on carnivore and you fancy another challenge, I would say take it, just do a month and then go back to the way you were. And then, but if you get to the end of that month, you think, you know what, let's go for it. Let's stay on the horse.
So spot on. I did Lion as well, and I found it really beneficial. And then I went from Lion into raw. Is that something that you would consider? I do about 40% of my stuff is raw meat now. The rest of it is
Yeah,
I don't have it particularly well cooked, but I do cook some at sear it.
I've never
Would you consider raw?
Yeah, I've never fancied it, but the way fat tastes so sweet to me, which was an epiphany for me. I'd always cut it off, but when I cook fat, even when it's not like pan fried, I can't stop eating it. And my brain's got, well, it's almost like cognitive dissonance, isn't it? I'm going, why does this taste so sweet? Why have we been told to avoid it all our lives? So I've had, is it carpaccio? That is a beef.
Yeah, carpaccio is just raw meat sliced.
When I'm in Spain, I love it. But again, all my family, what's he eating there? I go, guys, this tastes great. So if I did try it, I'll always try something new. I would have to cut it razor thin. So I might do a video on that, but it's not my right. This is my next challenge. I've watched you do it, and I was intrigued. But you know, to hear you say it was pretty good stuff. You know.
Well, the problem I did, I went typical me. I went nuts and bolts straight into it, where I should have gradually done it, because I had my stomach couldn't cope with it after about 4 days. And I had about 3 days of interesting dietary issues.
Yes,
but then now I've gradually gone back to it. And now, as I say, I quite regularly, if I can't be asked to cook it, I'll literally eat it. You just need to manage how you handle the meat to make sure you don't do it. So, and the rule I follow, which I've done quite a bit of research on, is if I'm going to eat raw, I will freeze the meat for 3 days.
Okay.
And then I'll put it in the fridge to slow thaw, and then eat it that day once it's thawed. Wow. So the pathogens and all the other bacteria can't develop. The freezing of it kills most of them anyhow, or completely knocks them out, that the body acids would destroy anyhow. But if you had a piece of raw meat that's been sitting around for a while, because George made an interesting point, he's more raw than me now, but he gets it from Lidl or Aldi, whichever, because they're freeze dried. So there's no air in there, where if you go to a butcher and you've bought some meat that's laying out, you need to freeze it first to get it down. But that's how I do it. I'm not saying anyone else should do it, but that's how I do it. And I find it really palatable. But you're right, carpaccio's delicious. Steak tartare is amazing. But yeah, if you slice it small, it is absolutely delicious. Melt in your mouth.
So can you describe the taste?
Honestly, I've seen a few videos where vegans have had meat again for the first time, and they have this almost orgasm of it. That's how it tastes, because you can taste it so much, mainly because your body's craving it, because you want the nutrients that come from it. But it is, I interviewed what I called the raw carnivore, and he really got me intrigued. So I tried it, and I must admit, now I would say probably once a day I'm now eating the raw steak, and then I'm probably, if I'm hungry a second time, I might cook or sear it. But then it's pretty much blue to rare when I do eat it. So I find it amazing.
Do you actually get a steak and then slice it?
Yeah, what I'll do, I get like the 3 kilo ribeye steak. I will then slice that into normal size steaks, freeze them down, and then when I'm doing it, I will get a small piece that would fit on a fork and eat it, because you hardly chew it. Most of it will dissolve in your mouth. It's honestly, I can't explain how good it is.
Wow.
And, you know, I'm not saying it changed anything the way in terms of my health or conditions, but the flavor is just so powerful.
Well,
I don't have to do raw eggs, but, you know, some people do raw pork and raw. I do sushi. I like sushi, so I like raw fish. So I'm probably, my microbiome is adjusted to it, so it's quite good.
That's basically back to natural, isn't it? It's natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So put it as well, if I was stuck in a desert island and we catch the rabbit, I'll eat it.
Yeah.
So what's next on the agenda for you? What's your plans into 2025?
Well, I've got a new job. It started on the 9th of September, but it's my old job as a swim teacher and coach. I was casual for 16 years. When I retired in 2008, I took a good package from the civil service. I was 50, But as I said to you, I had my knee replaced the same year. So that was one of the reasons why I was pushed out. I was devastated that they didn't want me to stay after 33 years in the civil service and local government. But fortunately for me that year, I mean, I remember the day I retired, the day after I retired, I sat there thinking, right, I'm going to have a beer, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I never used to drink in the daytime. I don't care now. I'm retired. Hey, everybody, I'm retired. I just kept telling everybody. And Michelle, my wife, was going, are you going to sit there all day watching BBC News? That's I used to watch mainstream TV. And I think back then, and I think, what an idiot. But fortunately for me, my daughter Sophie was a top competitive swimmer, and I used to obviously I was a support mechanism. So I'd be at the sports centre 5 days a week, and I stupidly volunteered to help out on poolside one night, thinking I'm expanding here. I need to find any way to keep my weight down, and I absolutely loved it. And my coach next to me, Neil, said, "Right, I'll give you obviously because you're not qualified yet, but you're just here to support today." I just went ballistic. I just loved it because I'd always loved sports. I'd been coached before. And he said to me, "Alex, you are great with the kids." He said, you're firm and friendly because they're in water. So you can't just mollycoddle them. He said, but you definitely tell you've got a sports background. So a couple of months later, I qualified as a swim teacher. Then I got my level 2, which means you can basically, teach anywhere in the country. And I got this new love, a new passion. One of the swim teachers on pool said, "Al, why don't you do a couple of hours each week?" And I went, "So don't you know this? I'm retired. I don't need to." But she said, "It's pocket money." So that's what happened to me. I started getting a couple of pounds a month, started to put that away. And I just got this new love of my life. So I've been doing that for 16 years. I've worked with top Olympians like Rebecca Adlington, Steve Parry, worked for a company called Total Swimming. But after lockdowns and we got back to work because we lost all our work, I think I didn't, this is me being me, I think I didn't suit their sort of image being in the 60s. I think they wanted a younger generation in. But fortunately for me, my local sports centre called me back in. So carried on being casual up to about 20 hours a week. And then last year, the manager said to me, "Alex, if you hadn't been our casual teacher, we would have had to close the programme now because there was just hardly any teachers available. They were all at college." So I thought, right, this is it. I want to do this now till I'm in my 70s and my 80s. I do know there is a swim teacher somewhere in England who is over 75. So I thought, right, that's my next goal. So I got the job. Actually, I applied for my job because we're going into a new sports centre. And you sit there and I'm 66, sweating and panicking, thinking, if I lose this, I'm going to lose my mind. And he said, "Well, how you got the job?" So I'm sitting there going, I'm 66, I've got a new job. So obviously I told everybody. So we go into this new sports centre in February, and I just want to be, a good role model for a swim teacher, first of all. I want to look fit. I want to be energetic, and I want to look the part, you know what I mean? I've seen people in other sports who are, telling people what to do and how to do things. And you look at them, you think, well, it's like a doctor, isn't it? A doctor who tells you to lose weight and he's sitting there and he's four stone overweight, or 4 stone overweight, or if he tells you to stop smoking, that he smokes. That's what it's all about. And I think to myself, if I'm going to be telling people what to do, I've got to look the part and I've got to act the part as well. So my goal for 2025 is, well, to be the best swim teacher in town, So that's it, basically.
Brilliant. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I wish you the best of luck in your new job and
my new job. Yeah.
That's incredible. You're at 66 and you're, nervous at doing an interview. That's amazing. I think that's brilliant. That I might cut that and use that as the introduction bit. I think that's quite funny. So Alex, before we wrap up, then, is there anything for any of the viewers from my channel you'd want to get a message across to?
I think it goes back to looking over those 2.5 years. Is we go back to what we said at the beginning. You've got to have a reason why. I look back now. I know Michelle is proud of me. She's 60 in September next year. I think I sent you a picture of it, didn't I, Carl? Michelle, my wife, she's my inspiration. She doesn't smoke. She hardly drinks at all. She's never done drugs. She's got me involved in yoga now for the last 6 weeks. She says I'm her rock, but guys, I'm going to throw it back to her. She's my rock. She's so inspirational. And here's the thing, because she's 7 years younger than me, I don't want her walking around and people going, "Who's that big fat slob with that really beautiful creature there?" And so when we were in our 20s, when we first met, we've been together 40 years now, that didn't matter because obviously we both looked the same age. But as I was starting to get to 50s and 60s, I was getting more and more padding. And she's looking great, better and better. She's a makeup artist by trade. That's her background. She works in retail. She knows how to look. She works so hard on it. My brain was going, I don't want anybody going, who's that with her? You know what I mean? But get back to what you're saying. I think if you will not do this if you are young, fit, and you haven't got any physical or mental issues. I really don't think. I know one lifeguard who's doing it, who's in his early 20s, and it's only because he saw the Atkins diet and he watched Jordan Peterson. So hats off to him. I won't tell you who he is, but I speak to younger people about this, and they're not interested. They've got too much going on, especially in this internet world. But people of my age, I think once you get over 45, 50, your metabolism slows down, the collagen and everything, your physical attributes. I think this is a perfect vehicle for anybody who, particularly meat eaters, to say, you know what, let's do this for 30 days, 90 days. What harm can it do? You're eating a species-specific diet. It's, as you know and I know, it's a proper human diet. That's what we endorse. So what harm are you going to do to yourself? I'd always probably say as well, if you're not sure, check it with your doctor first of all, if you've got any medical issues.
Yeah,
that goes without saying. But I'm not a nutritionist. I've said this on my channel. I've said on my channel, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. I'm just an ordinary working lad from Liverpool, and it changed my life.
No, I think it's spot on there. I 100% support what you say about going to your doctor. Sadly, yes, most doctors in their whole time of study do about a half a day on nutrition, and I think that needs to change. And I'm hoping that with Robert F. Kennedy taking on America, and we in Britain tend to follow what the Americans do, that if he can make the big changes that he's planning to do and bring the awareness up, then hopefully all we want is people to be healthy and enjoy themselves. Because as Dr. Chafee says, we should be living to 120 to 140 if we're eating the right kind of lifestyle. And, the likes of you and I, unfortunately, like you've mentioned about funerals before, that, we're going to outlive a lot of people if we maintain what we're doing. Be nice to have other people come on the journey with us.
Yes. My daughter Sophie's trying for a baby at the moment. She's 32 in the Dominican Republic, having a chill out there. And I've said to her recently, because she's carnivore, Alex Jr. is not carnivore. He's done it a while, got rid of all his skin issues like acne. He lives in London now. He's gone back to the old ways. It's all returned. That tells me this thing works. But Sophie, she's done really, really well. She's thriving. She's glowing. And I said to her, so I don't want to be making excuses in my 70s or when, Junior comes along. I want to be saying, right, I'm taking him here, there, or here. I'm taking her there. I'm taking him or her, wherever we want to. And I want to be enthusiastic. I want to look forward to bringing your children to me. I want us to go on holidays together. I don't want my age or my physical issues to be a rubbish excuse. And I know she's delighted with what I've said. So that's another goal for the future, besides my health, my mental and physical health, is to say, you know what, when I eventually become a granddad, I want to be a fit, healthy granddad who's running around, and the kids are trying to keep up with me. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be all. Well, it's interesting because Dr. Kiltz, who's a fertility doctor in America, talks about the high fat side of it is fantastic fertility, and he's had examples of ladies that have started to go through the menopause have ended up getting pregnant because they suddenly become so much more vibrant. So, that's something. So, best of luck on that front as well. So,
thanks.
So before we wrap up, just one little bit of band. Now, obviously, I've got the blue and white scarf. We both support teams in blue and white. Obviously, I'm an Ipswich fan. You're an Everton fan. You've got one over us already this season. So I'm going to carry on the banter with you throughout the season. And all I expect is you to finish one place below us. So
absolutely. Cheers, mate. Well, again, as we said before, it would be great to meet up because that's the lovely thing about Carnivore for me so far. It's another additional bonus. My interactions with everybody so far, I've never ever come off the camera and gone, what an idiot. I don't say that anyway, but I've I've come away and said, you know what, Shell, just put towards your Ipswich Town supporter. He was great, got great sense of humour. You wouldn't believe this. He actually did a marathon once in a suit of armour. And there's always a lovely story to tell. I've been talking to Lynn Tucker recently, and Jim, her husband, Jim's had a replacement knee. And these guys are in the late 60s. And you talk to them and you go, they could be in their 30s or 40s. The energy levels they've got is just phenomenal. And again, as I said, definitely the number of people that we've met so far has been great.
Well, the one that amazed me is, I think Kerry did the interview. Was that Maggie, the rancher lady?
Yeah, the rancher.
My God. I mean, she's she in her 80s? Is that right?
82, 83. Incredible.
And as Kerry was saying, that she was carrying like logs on her shoulders while doing some fencing work, and they were struggling to lift them.
Yeah, well, I was watching the trailer which she's on, which Ken has put out, and Michelle's sitting alongside me, and I said, Michelle, she's got the same definition as you, and she's 83. Michelle nearly fell off the settee. She couldn't believe it.
Yeah, brilliant story. Again, if I can dig it out, I'll put a link to that. So if anyone wants to follow that one as well, it will be in the content. So, Alex, as always, you're a star. Brilliant. You're a champion. Thanks everybody for watching. If you want more content like this, please subscribe. Please like on this channel.